Hello everyone, that Manga Kid here to do my December 2019 manga haul. I picked up a few things. I had a few pre-orders that came in, and then I did find a few things at some used bookstores in my area that I'm pretty happy about. I'm just going to start off with some of my pre-order continuations of series. We got the fourth omnibus of Gantz. These are 3-in-1s, so this is volumes 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, and 12 is in this volume here. I'm quite enjoying it. I know when I made my first impressions video of the first omnibus, I wasn't too thrilled. It wasn't as good as I was hoping it would be, but I had already pre-ordered the second volume, so I figured I'd wait and read the second volume, and if I liked it, I'd continue, and clearly I continued, so I'm enjoying it. Yeah, it's action, there's lots of nudity, there's lots of violence and gore and whatever, but I'm really enjoying the story, honestly. It's very compelling if the violence and the nudity and everything doesn't bother you. It's quite compelling, and I'm glad because it was a series that I had always been curious about for many, many, many years. And I watched the live action film, or one of the live action films, years ago, but I'd never read the manga or watched the anime, and I had always wanted to, and I was quite disappointed with that first omnibus, so I'm really glad that it's picked up, and I'm really enjoying it. I like these releases, honestly. If you get them for a decent price, which I'd never pay the full price for these Dark Horse omnibuses, but if you get it for a decent price, this is a good valued way to get 3 volumes in one, and get the series kind of chunks at a time. But yeah, I'm quite enjoying Gantz, so that's omnibus number 4. And they look pretty sweet on the shelf, honestly. These really thick omnibus volumes look really good together, so I'm not, knocking the quality of them or anything. I'm sure the singles are nice, but since most of them are out of print and these are coming out now, I might as well get them in this edition, and I'm not bothered by doing that. So next up, volume 8 of Owl Horror Ride. Really beautiful cover, as always. I enjoy this series. I've read it before, so I know what happens, but it's been a while, and I really like the characters. I really like this character in particular. The series is 13 volumes long, so we're coming up on the end here. Few more to go, and yeah, I just enjoy reading it when it comes in. And we're getting another series by Ayo Sakisaka next year, which I'm very excited about. I've not read that one, and I am super stoked that we're getting it. Next up, Volume 4 of Candy Color Paradox. This is a yaoi series put out by Sublime. I do have a first impressions of this series, as well as Isaku Natsume's other series, False Memories, I think is what it's called. Yes, False Memories. This volume was so good. I love the story of this manga. Yes, it's a yaoi. Yes, it has sex scenes and whatever, but it's not the main focus. Isaku Natsume really focuses on the story, and it happens to be about 2 men who are into each other. But this is about they work for kind of a gossip. They work for a magazine, and I think they're in the gossip section of the magazine. And this guy is the reporter, and this guy is the photographer. And so they go on a bunch of stakeouts trying to find salacious, get salacious photos and a story about celebrities and whatever. This volume in particular was so well done. I was captivated the entire time. I couldn't wait to find out what happened and how they resolved this kind of conflict and situation they were in. Yeah, I really love this story. I would be so happy if, I don't know how many volumes this series is. If anybody knows, let me know in the comments, but I'd be happy if this went on for several more volumes. I know for sure there's a volume 5 at least, because it says to be continued in volume 5 at the end of it. But I'd be, super happy if this went on for several more volumes, because it is such a compelling story, and this volume in particular was spot on, so well done. Yeah, I really enjoyed the scenario in this one. I've enjoyed every volume, but this one in particular, I was just blown away. really happy with how it went. Next up, Kiss Me at the Stroke of Midnight. This is volume 10. This is a series, this is a Kodansha series about this high school girl who is dating this celebrity. He's an idol slash model actor now, I guess, but he used to be in an idol group. Um, we are at the point here where they're trying to kind of reconcile old friendships and, what are you doing? Sorry, my dog is excited. Reconcile old friendships and kind of rebuild relationships. It's okay. This series, I really love the first volume in particular, but the first couple volumes were so funny. It just kind of is meh now. Like I don't know. I just, it's kind of generic to me. I really don't like that it's in the larger trim size. I think that my philosophy is if the art is amazing or the text is very small because there's so much text, then that warrants a larger print size. But this manga is not spectacular. It has not, like, it really shouldn't be in this format because it makes it more expensive for no reason, and this is not a spectacular series by any means. I have had a problem with the size of this and the price of this series since the beginning, and I don't dislike it enough to discontinue collecting it, especially now I've collected 10 volumes. Like, I'm going to finish it, but I just the whole time I'm reading it, like, the art's not bad, but honestly, I don't think it needs to be this big. I don't think it needs to be this price. I think it should be in the regular format that used to be the standard for manga, and at a more reasonable price. Like, I don't get why this series is so. I don't know. That's my own rant, but this one in particular just drives me nuts. Next up, we've got Emanon. This one is Emanon Wanderer Part 2, technically Volume 3 if you were buying all of the Emanon volumes. This one was quite lovely. There's going to be another volume. It says to be continued at the end of it. Yeah, it was okay. The first one is the best one. The second one is very beautiful. It has like 70 something color pages. This one has a few color pages, and it kind of goes into a bit more. It was very fascinating, but I was hoping this would be the last one just because I don't want to buy anymore. Uh, but we're getting more of it. I think at some point, like, I feel like this series in particular should just kind of, like, I don't think you need to add on to it a million more times. I think it could just be what it is, but I guess it was popular enough in Japan that they continued to make more and more installments, and I guess it's popular enough here that they're going to continue to translate more and more of the installments. I just hope it doesn't run for too long because I just I don't know. I want to keep buying it because I want to know what happens, but I'd prefer if the story just ended and left it as it is because that first volume was so wonderful. And not that the second and third aren't really great, but I think that it could spoil very easily if it goes on too long. Next up, these are continuations but completed. Final volume of Our Dreams at Dusk. Um, yeah, I have a first impressions of this one up. I will definitely have a full review of this one up. I've been toying with the idea of doing like a volume to volume. There's only 4 review of this series and like going in depth, not necessarily review, but just talking about my thoughts on each particular volume because I think each volume really focuses on very specific um issues or experiences in the LGBT community. And I've been toying with the idea of kind of like giving my thoughts on each individual volume of this series to talk really about what happened in each volume and give my kind of opinions and thoughts and reactions to it. If that is something you're interested in, please let me know because I've been kind of on the fence about whether or not I was going to do that. But I will certainly do it if people are interested in watching a video of me doing that. Yeah, but super happy about this. Wonderful, wonderful release. So happy to have it and that it's finished. Next up, Volume 2, the final volume of H.P. Lovecraft's At the Mountains of Madness by Go Tanabe. This is a wonderful series. I really, really enjoyed it. These releases by Dark Horse are lovely. They're quite heavy, very good quality paper, wonderful release. This is really creepy and grotesque, and I've never read anything by H.P. Lovecraft. I know a bit about H.P. Lovecraft himself and some of his works, but I've never personally read them. So this was my first kind of introduction to his works, and Go Tanabe's art is so fantastic. It's just very atmospheric. Like, you're reading this and going like, wow. It's so like stark and bleak and just, yeah, it's quite intense. I really enjoyed it. I highly recommend it. I like this one far better than The Hound and Other Stories. That was also by Go Tanabe. So At the Mountains of Madness was very well done. Highly, highly recommend it. Next up, this is just a one-shot Our Dining Table, a 7 Seas release. This is by Mita Ori. And I do have a review out on my channel already of this one. I loved it. I would suggest checking out my review if you would like to know about this title. It is obviously a boys' love title, but it's sweet, it's cute, it's family-oriented, and it's food-oriented, and it's so wonderful. The art is adorable, and the food is lovely. Yeah, it's just really well done. Next up, another one-shot, Boys Love 7 Days. This is the Sublime release, 2-in-1 omnibus that's been recently released. This was released a while ago, years and years ago, in its 2 separate volumes, which I never got my hands on, unfortunately. But I was so happy to hear that it was getting re-released and that I'd be able to pick it up, because this is one series that I have been wanting to read for so long. I do have a review of this series. I cannot remember if it's out already. I feel like it isn't. But it will. It's scheduled to come out at some point, I guess in January, if it's not out already. And yeah, I really, really enjoyed this. It's a tame boys' love. It's more of a shonen ai. It doesn't have any explicit content. Good introductory one, and it's a 1-volume omnibus here, so not going to break the bank either. Next up, I got the Junji Ito No Longer Human. Is this Viz? Yes, Viz release. I have not read this yet. I am almost done the novel by Osamu Dazai. I do own it. I have read Usamaru Furia's version of No Longer Human. Unfortunately, I don't own it. It is very out of print, but my library had it. Or actually, the library in a neighboring city had it, and I did an interlibrary loan to read it. But I really liked Usamaru Furia's version. I'm excited to read Junji Ito's version. And I am finishing up the novel, which is the obviously original by Osamu Dazai. So this is a story I very much enjoy. I've consumed it in anime form and a few other like short story kind of alternative ones. Osamu Dazai really fascinates me, and No Longer Human in particular really does. So I'm quite interested to read this one. I'm not a I know what they're going for with the slipcover and the picture underneath and everything, but slipcovers make me nervous because I always feel like I'm going to rip them. So I was a little bit disappointed to see that this had a slipcover on it. It is very beautiful. It's a beautiful release, but I'd prefer if it just didn't, because it makes me nervous. Next up, I do actually have one anime series. I found this at Goodwill actually yesterday, right at the end of the month. This is the complete collection of Vampire Knight and Vampire Knight Guilty anime collection. It was new. I took the plastic off, but it was new, sealed in the plastic. never been opened. $5 I paid for this. All 26 episodes. 26? Yeah, right there. 26 episodes. English and Japanese, English subtitles. Very excited. It's been a decade since I watched Vampire Knight. I think I was 13. So I am very excited. My sister had started watching this a while ago and never finished it, so her and I are just going to watch it together. And yeah, $5, can't complain. And I had a $5 coupon, so technically it was free. So I was very happy to find that brand new in the package. So that's kind of fun. Next up, I found this at Goodwill as well. Volume 1 of 10 Count. I paid $1 for this. None of the books at Goodwill are $1. Not anymore, anyway, but it had $1 price tag on it, and I feel like the staff wanted to get rid of it. I feel like when they were pricing, they went, you know what? We're just going to stick $1 on this one and get it out of the store as soon as possible. Yeah, so I was quite shocked to find it there, and even more shocked that it was $1. I'd read a sample of 10 Count a while ago and really was not impressed. And so I'm kind of glad that I found it and it was $1 because I read the volume. I quite enjoyed it. I will pick up the rest of the series at some point, but yeah, I mean, I guess it was fate because I was never going to pick this up and because I really didn't like the preview I had read of it. But yeah, I enjoyed this volume. This volume doesn't really have any explicit content in it. It's kind of a slow burn, but I'm fascinated to see where it goes, and yeah. $1 at Goodwill. Can't say no to that. Next up, I found another volume of the Kindaichi Case Files. This one's The Headless Samurai. I have not read this one yet. I am very much enjoying reading the Kindaichi Case Files as I pick them up. They're kind of standalone volumes, so you don't really have to read them in order, which is nice, so that I can actually enjoy them when I buy them instead of having to wait and find the volumes sequentially. It's a high school detective, and each is its own kind of mystery story, and they're quite well done. If you like detective stories, I would highly recommend this one. It's quite fun. The art is interesting. The stories themselves are compelling enough, and they end by the end of it, and it's all wrapped up nicely and tied off. And then the next volume is a different problem, a different case to solve, and yeah, different cast of characters except for Kindaichi and usually his childhood female friend are the kind of recurring characters, but other than that it's usually a new cast of characters for every volume, and it's quite entertaining. I enjoy it, and I find them used usually at my local used bookstore. They come in every once in a while and I pick up the ones I don't have. I believe there's about 15 or so volumes in total, maybe a little bit more or less than that, but somewhere around there. Next up, a series I've never heard of. This is a manhwa, Angel Cup. Clearly, it is a soccer manga released by Tokyo Pop, and I had never heard of it. I kind of went back and forth on whether or not I was going to buy it, but it was a complete series in 5 volumes. So I figured, honestly, for like $1, it was a couple dollars per volume, and I figured, if it's absolutely awful, then I can just sell it or do whatever I want with it. But, I mean, the art is not my favorite thing in the world, but it's not awful. And I've been interested in sports manga, and this one's kind of intriguing to me because I can't tell if it's what the demographic of this series is supposed to be. But, yeah, I bought the 5 volumes, and I have not read it yet. But when I do, I will absolutely let you all know my thoughts. Yeah, so I'm interested. I've been trying to get more into sports manga and not just write them off because I don't really play sports or care about sports. But as far as I can tell, this is kind of a rivalry between like a male and female soccer team, and I believe they're high school students. And I'm just kind of interested. I think the female captain is like the main character, and I'm just fascinated to see what this is all about because I've never heard of it. Next up, another complete series, 5 volumes that I found used that I'm so excited about. I found Imadoki by Yu Watase. This one I paid a little bit more for. I think it was $30 for the whole series or something like that. It was about $5 a volume or so. But this is a series that I had heard, I believe, Laura over at Manga Hoarder talking about at one point, and I knew it was the complete series. And I've never read anything by Yu Watase, but I had been wanting to. And this one looked like a lot of fun. It's about a girl who goes to this kind of pretentious boarding school, and she's kind of an outcast, and she meets the most popular boy, of course, who I believe is the son of the headmaster, and he likes flowers and planting, and she notices that, but then he pretends he doesn't like it, and that he hates everyone and everything and whatever, and he's kind of putting on an air of being mean when he's actually quite caring and sweet. And so she wants to be his friend, so she starts a um horticulture club or something like that. And then a bunch of other people join the club, and they're all kind of misfits and outcasts in their own way. And it's a fun story of friendship and a bit of romance, but not too much romance. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Teen drama. It was fun. I do have a review done. I cannot remember. I don't think it's already out. It might be already out. If not, it's coming in January. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I will keep my eye out for more Yu Watase titles because I really enjoyed this one. And that is everything that I picked up in December of 2019. Not a huge haul, which I'm happy about because that means less money was spent, and I'm looking forward to 2020. Yeah. If you have read any of the series that I showed, please let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you have any questions about any of them, let me know in the comments. Again, about Our Dreams at Dusk, if you are interested in me doing one, like, volume by volume kind of thoughts review situation, then let me know, because I've been toying with that idea, like I said. Yeah, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. Happy New Year.